Hello, and welcome to Conversations with Cheryl Weston. Today is EV Day. Oh, I know. You're probably wondering, what is EV Day? Well, I'm not going to hold you in suspense any longer. EV Day is Early Voting Day, meaning early ballots go out today from the Douglas County Election Commission office. Anyone who has requested by the deadline of last Friday will have received a early ballot. Folks, don't delay. As I have said over the past several months, this is a very important election. It's going to make a difference for us over the next 4 years. The next 4 years are a lot of changes are going to be made because of who's in office nationally and who will be in office locally. So if you requested an early ballot, mark it, put it in the envelope, mail it, or drop it off in one of the boxes that is marked for early or election boxes for ballots. You cannot turn that ballot in at the election polling place on May 13th. You must turn it in to the Douglas County Election Commission office, which is located at 120th and Center in the Bel Air Plaza. You turn it in by 8 o'clock and it's going to be counted. So, again, today, April 28th, 2025, is early voting. You can go to the election office and do voting in person if you choose to. Recently, like yesterday, KETV had a mayoral of debate, and there were several claims that were made. And KETV, let's give them a thumbs up, kudos for fact checking. One of the biggest contention points was to do with the Omaha police staffing. However, it couldn't be accurately checked because of inconsistent data. Now, we know that during this election period, this is one of the whole platforms, the pillars that the current mayor is basing her reelection campaign on. She has blown up the budget already for police. Public safety, that's how they code it, public safety. So let's get it clear. And what she said is she's going to have the highest paid police officers. And this is because she's increased the salary. But folks, does that make it be good? How many positions have you been in and you're working with someone because they get the most money? Does that make them the most qualified? Does that make them the most well-trained? Don't think so. But let's take a look at some of the facts check that KETV did. One claim by John Ewing. They were fully staffed in 2021. So to continue to blame COVID and to continue to blame the George Floyd incident, I don't think it's accurate. Fact check. Omaha City budget list Omaha Police Department staffing and sworn officers positions on a yearly basis. According to the data that most of the recent staffing numbers, they're shown versus sworn and budgeted. As you look at the list from 2018 to 2023, if you took that and took by itself, standalone, it could be implied that perhaps John Ewing Jr.'s statement about the department being staffed in 2021 could be false. However, when you see that word but, many of us who went to school, we were taught but and a comma means whoop, back it up, hold that step. The annual police report from 2021 shows police levels at 911 on December 31st, 2021. If that's the case, Somebody's got some facts here that's not right. When reached for comment, Omaha Police Chief Todd Schmatter said at no point in 2021 was the department fully staffed. However, your police report showed something entirely different. Who who is telling the truth? Is it the Omaha Police Department report or or well, don't know that. Let's take a look at the next claim by Mayor Gene Stothert. Sheriff Hansen has probably 130 total, and a lot of them are in the courthouse. He has very few who are out on the street, and they could possibly help our police officers, Mayor Gene Stothert. Now, my question is, if crime rate is going down, which it is nationally, and what the empowerment network with Chief Schmatter has gone around the country talking about how it's gone down in Omaha, well, wouldn't it mean, or why, let's back up, do you have the need to have more police officers? Just because you have money budgeted and allocated? That's questionable. Fact check, fact check. In response to this question, would Stothert or Ewing Jr. accept Sheriff Aaron Hansen's previous offers to contract with the Douglas County until the Omaha Police Department is fully staffed? Stothert's overall numbers is in the same ballpark, but the sheriff's office has dozens of deputies on patrol. Look at the breakdown. Total of 154. Uniform services, 58. Investigations, 26. Court security, 38. Warrant and court services, 14. Administration, 5. Executive, 3. And 10 are training or on leave. Well, I don't know about your community and your area, but in North Omaha, we see Sheriff Aaron Hansen's cars all the time. They are already assisting the city of Omaha. Again, Mayor Gene Stothert is not being truthful and transparent. But this is a political time, and she's had conversations probably with Aaron Hansen, and this has been one of her big pillars and platforms, how she's going to increase the police wages and salaries so they'll be the highest paid. Just being the highest paid does not necessarily make you the best at that job. The next claim was, the most important thing I've done, said Gene Stothert, with the budget is that I've grown the cash reserve so that we can still get through those hard times. Fact check, fact check. This was in response to a question about which each candidate would cut from the budget if Omaha's financial situation worsened. Stothert's claim is true. When she took office in 2013, the cash reserves fund was at $5 million, according to the city budget document. But by the end of the fiscal year 2025, the cash reserves will be above $36 million. My question is, how has the cash reserves been built? Is the surplus from the restaurant tax that Mayor Gene Stothert was opposed to and insinuated that in her first run for office, if elected, she would repeal, which didn't happen? So, what would really happen? How did this cash reserve get? It is not due to the budgeting process of Mayor Gene Stothert. Let's take a look at what it is. It is the tax that keeps on giving and you keep on paying. The city of Omaha is set to finish the year with a budget surplus. Here, we have given you where you can check out the facts for yourself by hitting the links and see where did that budget or the surplus come from? Why do we have this surplus of $36 million? And our police budget keeps eating up more than a third of the budget, way more. The next claim, one of the things I've seen in my time working in this community is that when young people aren't successful academically by the third grade, we see them start to fall out and withdraw from society. We have to keep them engaged, said John Ewing Jr. Fact check. This is in response to a question about juvenile crime. The sentiment is true and backed up by numerous academic studies that show third grade reading performance can be a predictor of outcomes later in life. And it is a predictor, and it has study after study after study. Not only do you don't have to even go to the studies. Just talk to parents who are in the Omaha public school system. And we're not saying the mayor runs the Omaha public school system. So don't get that twisted out there. That's not what I said. Is just talk to those parents. Better yet, just talk to some of those children and you can see where they're heading. And now we have a legislature who wants to make sure that we continuously put those children who end up based upon their ability in academic studies who end up in the juvenile justice system. So, if you enjoyed tonight's show, hit the button and subscribe to Conversations with Cheryl Weston. But one of the main things we want to get out before we close tonight, people, make sure that you get out and vote. Vote. This is an important election. This is going to make the difference for us for our next 4 years. We need to have a mayor who is in building up the infrastructure. And that infrastructure is not just the roads, which are horrendous. We just saw with the last rainstorm a little over a week ago, everything floating down Saddle Creek. There has been numerous times during the debate that she has claimed that this streetcar going nowhere, which we know it's going to have to be completed, but it's going nowhere, has already brought over $1.5 million in economic development. Excuse, do not be so insulted, because that's what I considered insulted. How does this economic growth over this 3-mile radius of what's being done, worked on, has already brought in economic development to the benefit of the people? Come on, people. There's a bridge that goes over to Council Bluffs. If you want to believe everything like that, there's a bridge for sale. I'll sell it to you. Make sure that you get out and vote. If you did request your early ballot, please complete it and send it back in. I am, and there have another show coming up that I am fully endorsing and recommending you vote for John Ewing Jr. He is a man of intelligence, integrity. He is a man of faith who wants to have community engagement and has committed to that. He wants to bring about more fairness in the recommendations to people who go on the boards that make the decisions for us. He wants to have your input on decisions that are made. No more putting things past the people. Anything that's a tremendous amount of money, then he wants to bring that forth and let the people get input, at least input. This is not a time that you can sit on the stands. You need to step forward, vote. I can't force you to, And maybe my opinion doesn't make much to you, but I stand behind John Ewing Jr. And I hope that you will too by voting for John on May 13th, 2025. Have a wonderful evening. And as it said, if you like the show, hey, please hit the subscribe button and you'll get notification to every new video that is put forth. Have a great evening. Don't forget, vote. Today's EV Day.